one drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game.
You're tripping.
How you high Super Bowl time?
I don't know what we're doing in the front office, man. Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches.
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode 191. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I'm your other co-host, Malin Dennis.
I'm your other great co-host, all the way from Sarasota, Nestor.
And our special first half guest this week, June Buckspade. What's going on, June?
What's up? What's up, fellas?
Good to have you again. Thank you for joining us for another Wednesday night. You know, anytime June is on, I already know it's going to be a great show. So,
Man, we got June Bug on the show in June. What could go wrong?
oh, it's the month of June, baby.
I don't know.
I poured this almost like I would have, like Malin pours the shots. This is like,
Malin shot. There you go.
look at this.
There you go.
all
You're getting close.
Malin. We're Malin pouring it tonight, people.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
The one night Nestor is not drinking a beer, I'm drinking a beer.
Well, well, I took my shot, but I am drinking a beer.
I mean, like,
That might
far,
have,
cheers.
I had a feeling you're gonna do that, Jay. So I actually didn't break out the Woodford. I got some Dominican rum.
Ooh,
like,
look at that.
Oh,
I've
okay.
never heard of
I
that.
got a
Beautiful.
feeling goes down smooth.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah,
That
I'm,
was that.
I'm sipping on the Florida Man IPA, and then in light of the Boston Celtics about to win their next NBA championship, drinking the Smithwick's Irish Red Ale.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice.
But,
Not
okay,
so
I forgot
fast,
that-
my friend.
I forgot that June was a Dallas fan for a second. All of a sudden, I looked at him and I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything off color about his family. I don't know why. He looked so upset.
But just like, damn, if I sit in here,
My bad, man. I forgot.
no, it's all good. It's all good.
He's like, don't worry, game one's tomorrow. Don't even worry about it.
I just, you know what I'll do? I will have a friend that's a missionary in Africa that when they send those Dallas Mavericks championship shirts over there, that they're never gonna wear them, I'll have them snag you one, and then send it.
Hey, they're clothing the homeless.
And we lost the video because he's plotting to kill me.
Hold on.
Well, folks, while June gets that figured out, if you want to watch us live on YouTube, we stream this live every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to check us out. It's the first link down
I
in
don't know
your...
what that was. That was crazy.
That's the curse of the Dallas curse.
I know, right?
If you click the first link in your podcast description, you'll be taken to the YouTube version of this episode where you can watch us every Wednesday night. So be sure to do that. Subscribe to the channel, give the episode a like, and chime in the live chat if you're watching this live. So, all right, let's get to the first topic of the week, which is, of course, the NBA Finals starting up tomorrow night between Malin and I's Boston Celtics and the inferior Dallas Mavericks. Let's start with the first question here. There's always a narrative to the NBA Finals, always drama going on. So I would like to ask you guys, what do you think is the biggest narrative this year? June, we'll start with you, good sir.
I think the biggest narrative, and I like the question too, by the way. I think the narrative is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, is it their year to win an NBA title? You know, Jaylen Brown came in 2016. Jason Tatum came in 2017. These guys have been together for 7 years. The question now is they've been together for 7 years. They're now in the finals. Can they seal the deal? So that is the biggest narrative that we have going on with this team right now is can these two guys seal this thing for the Boston Celtics and all of Boston Celtics land? So that's what I have.
I don't know how it can't be Kyrie Irving going back to the scene of the crime where he started to lose his goddamn mind. I mean, he was already losing it a little bit in Cleveland, but he really started losing shit in Boston. Them racists got to him in Boston, and then he was never the same in Brooklyn. And he goes down to Dallas of all places and kind of levels out a little bit. But I think that's going to be, to me, like, of course, can Tatum take that step and be one of the elite players in the NBA? Is he going to have a bad finals like he did last time? Is Jaylen Brown going to be the clutch guy? As great as Luka's been in the playoffs, I don't really think there's much of a narrative with Luka because I think people are just expecting Luka to be Luka. I'm really kind of honed in on this Kyrie Irving going back to Boston against a former team. They're in the NBA Finals. You know, what is that going to look like? How many Boston reporters are going to ask him about the Earth being flat, or about the books he endorses, to try to rattle him up a little bit? Boston fans can be ugly as shit when they don't like you. So we'll see how he plays in Game 1 and Game 2. If you take them rawhide shoes and stick them up somebody's ass, I don't know, man. If you can ball out and score 30 points with tassels on your feet, you're just mean mugging people. That's some ballsy shit. So yeah, I'm gonna go Kyrie.
Nestor.
I honestly, I don't care about Kyrie's return to Boston, although I'm sure the media is gonna play into it a lot. And everything looks calm right now, but we know once the series actually starts, when tensions boil, things could change. But regardless of all that toxicity, I don't care about that. I just care about Luka versus Tatum. I care about how many what chance are we on when it comes to Tatum now, trying to get a chip, and then on the other side we have Luka's first shot at a chip. So it's going to be very important, this series, deciding going forward who's going to be, kind of like the player in the NBA, because I just feel like Denver didn't have enough with the Joker. So it's really important because it might decide some things for Boston in the near future, for the years going forward. So I'm really interested to see, because it's not going to be about the box score for Tatum. It's going to be about the passes, the what he does, from the first minute to the fourth quarter, how he assists his team, not so much the points. And for Luka, we know it's going to be 1 or 2 triple doubles and points, whatever. So it's going to be very interesting to see that dynamic. That's what I'm really interested in seeing, between these two teams, that narrative.
Yeah, I agree a lot with that, the Tatum versus Luka narrative, because it's like June was saying, it's Tatum and Brown's time to step up, because this is the best team they've had. This is the best roster in the NBA this year. They've been here before, just 2 years ago. So it seems like the world is watching to see, all right, are they going to finally just break through that ceiling? Meanwhile, Luka, his first trip there, he doesn't really have any expectations to actually win a title. I mean, nobody even thought this team was going to be anywhere near the finals just 6 months ago. So, yeah, it's like, most NBA greats don't win on their first trip to the finals. It takes them that they got to cut their teeth, and now it's like, all right, Tatum, Brown, here you go. You guys have been here before. You have the experience. Luka has not. This is like just how it works in the NBA. And it's like the expectations, can they meet the expectations? The Kyrie thing is very interesting as a Celtics fan, It's just I really want to see how that's going to happen every time he touches the ball. Because even when he was a Brooklyn Net and we swept them in the playoffs a couple years ago, every time he touched the ball in TD Garden, it was just boos that you could hear all throughout the broadcast. So this time around, it's going to be even more interesting. So yeah.
And I think Christian Porzingis is going to be kind of interesting. He's coming back off an injury. He's been gone for the last series. He was out the last series, and last series and a half actually. So, and then of course he played in Dallas,
That's
a year and a
true.
half before.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very interesting to see him too. So I like to throw that in there too, see him coming back and playing and see how he's going to be. Is he ready to play? Are they rushing him back or is he ready to play? So we're going to see how this plays out.
Yeah. So my next question, and we'll start again with you, June, is who is actually winning and in how many games? What's your prediction for how this finals ends?
In my heart, I want the Dallas in 6. But in my mind, I know it's going to be it's going to be Boston in 6. And that's because I think that Tatum, and it's going to come down to the stars on each team. And I just think that Tatum and Brown got more help than Luka and Kyrie. And I think it's going to come down to that. So, and if Tatum and Brown stay the course and they're playing like they've been playing throughout this entire playoff system, they win this in 6 games. And I say in 6 just because I think the Mavs are scrappy enough to pull 2 games out. So that's what I see. Celtics in 6.
Malin?
I'm going Celtics in 5. I do think that the difference in some of these games is going to be the role players. If White goes off for 25 in a game, if Porzingis even just gives you 2 solid games offensively, hell, Horford could go for one of those 7 3-point games. I think it's the X factor of everybody else on the Celtics. I think that Tatum and Brown can match up with Luka and Kyrie respectively. I think Luka is a little bit better of a scorer than anybody on the floor, but I think he's also a little bit of a defensive liability. And I mean, and I haven't even touched on Holiday yet and what he can bring to the table. And so I just think that Boston's trying to win it a different way. They're trying to win a championship instead of like 2 huge stab wounds. It's death by 1,000 cuts, They just have a lot of people that could show up any night. And I think that's going to be a factor. And I'm not sure that Dallas defensively is necessarily going to have an answer for that. Not that I really feel like we'll have an answer for Dallas offensively between Kyrie and Luka, but I think our role player is going to show up.
Nestor?
I was struggling between 5 and 6 games for Boston taking it. I'll be a little bit bold here. I'll do the same. I think in 5, just because looking at the schedule and how the Celtics play, I think they're not going to lose those 2 games. I'm thinking that they could potentially lose. I don't think they're going to lose them. I think they're going to drop 1 game, and that's it. And we won't have to go to game 6. So yeah, Boston in 5.
If they win game 1 and 2, it's over in 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
If Dallas steals 1 in Boston, it could go 6.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the only person that's taking Boston in 7 here. I am terrified of Luka Doncic. This man is unbelievable. I think Jokic won the MVP, rightfully so. But I really think the best player in the NBA is Luka. I think it's been that way for the past probably 2 years now because he's like the one dude where it's like it just doesn't matter what you try and do defensively, he's going to get in his bag and he's going to score. And he'll average a triple-double probably this entire series. If he really wants to, he could absolutely put up 30, 12, and 10 every single night. The other thing is on our side, the live by the three, die by the three drives me nuts. And there's nights where if it's not hitting, we're gonna die by it. Also afraid of how Kristaps Porzingis looks coming back from this injury, because apparently he's not exactly 100%. It's like kind of tentative, but we'll see how that looks.
Luka's not 100% either.
He's not
act like he hasn't been dragging his fucking leg.
But I mean, hey,
that whole series
for dragging his leg, looks pretty damn good. So I'm thinking this is going to be more of a long haul. If it comes back to Boston though in a Game 7, I like our odds with all the pieces that we have compared to what Dallas has.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
it's gonna be a good series.
Who do you guys think's winning Finals MVP this year? June, we will start with you.
I think this is Tatum's year. I think he's going to step up. I think if it comes down to it, and Boston win the series, they're going to ride Jason Tatum. I think Jaylen Brown is great. I've always thought he was great. You know, when I thought the Lakers was going to make a push to try to get him, I would have been happy. But right now, Jason Tatum is the heart and soul of that team. If Jason Tatum wasn't on that team would have been out in the first round of the playoffs. Okay? So I think Jason Tatum is going to step up in this series. He knows what he's facing, and Luka. Dallas got two players on their team. I watched Dallas all season long. Dallas got two players on their team. They got Luka and they got Kyrie. That's it. Everybody else is strictly role players, and they may give you 10 to 15 points every night. One guy may go off for 10 to 15 points. Other than that, Jason Tatum knows, look, let Kyrie and Luka do their thing, and then let me cook. Let me cook. And I think if that happens, Jason Tatum will dominate this series and be the MVP.
Go ahead, Malin.
Here's a crazy thing. Then in the postseason, Tatum leads the team in points, rebounds, and assists. But who won MVP in the Eastern Conference Final? I think that Brown is going to have more clutch moments down the stretch. I think this is going to be one of those finals where the clutch moments matter. I mean, y'all remember what was it? Iguodala won a Finals MVP.
Yeah. Yep.
Because some clutch shit with Golden State. Even though Steph Curry led the team in several categories, it was Iguodala that was making huge plays, and I think Brown is going to have just as similar of a stat point as Tatum. And I think he's got a little bit more of that Mamba mentality that Tatum wishes he has, and Brown's been kind of talking about it in the post-game press conferences about, like, he's been shooting his shot that he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA. He knows what this stage can do for his career too, and with Luka being hurt, he is a liability defensively, and I think there's going to be opportunities to drive into the hole and more wide open threes because you're going to be driving into the lane and kicking back out. My dark horse, if you want a dark horse, Dylan, if you want an Iguodala, as it were, my dark horse would be Derek White.
Amen.
I think Derek White could have a few games where he's throwing up some daggers at the end of a game. Let him average around 20 points a game, be all over the place, be that most consistent player for all 7 games. We all know that Tatum and Brown can have games where they don't show up necessarily. You know, like, hell, didn't Tatum have like a 18-point game or something like that in the semis? Something like that. Like, you know, if all it takes is one game like that, and you're not in the MVP race, if someone else is averaging more consistently. So Derek White would be my dark horse, just because I think he's crazy good. But I think Brown's going to get it.
Nestor.
I do think Brown is gonna have the clutch moments. I just think when it's all said and done, for purposes of who kind of, I don't know, like I said before, led the team and just overall from the first minute to the fourth quarter, um, just leading the team in everything besides just points. And yeah, just maybe not clutch, but I think he's gonna be the face of the Celtics team when they win the finals. So I think Tatum will win it. And if you want a dark horse, Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday.
I mean, that's not bad. I like Drew Holiday.
And there, Drew
I like Drew
Holiday's
Holiday
only
in that
averaging,
situation.
he's only averaging 12 points a game in the playoffs, but he came alive in that Eastern Conference
Oh
Finals.
yeah.
I will say that
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
say this though, that
I
like
steal.
a lot of people are going to pick Tatum because he's the best player on Boston, but this is not like a Jordan, Scottie Pippen type 1 and 2 duo.
Right.
Like Jaylen Brown is a hell of a lot closer to being a one than I think people give him credit for.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they were both taken number 3 in back-to-back drafts.
Right.
Yeah.
They were. They were. And that's for a reason. That's for a
Yeah,
reason.
I'm also gonna pick Tatum. I just think that in order for us to win this title, I think it's gonna need to be with him leading the way. I mean, if Brown does it too, I'll take it. But that's just what I would foresee happening. However, though, like Malin said, dark horse pick, the Celtics fans, I really could see Derek White being because he's already revered among Celtics fans. He's going to be our finals MVP regardless of what happens. I can just already tell because that's just the kind of dude he is.
And let me ask you guys this question real quick. One player on the Celtics scores 45 points at some point in this series. Who do you think it's going to be?
Brown.
It's Brown, or you think it's Tatum?
If it's one dude going off for 45, I'm saying it's Brown.
Wow, that's a. Yeah, I mean that's a
Tatum's
hard
good
choice.
Tatum's good for those mid-30s, man. But when Brown is feeling, I mean, he popped off for 40 in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think what was it, Game 2?
I think that was.
Might have been Game 1, but I think it was Game 2 where he was like, "Nah, man, we ain't losing another goddamn Game 2."
Right.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good question. God. Yeah, you got to give it to Brown. I mean, and I like his inside game better. I like Tatum's inside game.
I know.
So that could, you know,
man.
you get that, you get those 3-point plays all the time. So that can add up real quick. It adds up real quick. You know what I mean? So yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic for this week, which is our What's Up With That for the week. This is where we each air out a grievance we have within the world of sports. So, June, we will start with you. What is on your heart this week, sir?
Okay. The controversial take. I'm going to start with college baseball and college softball. I love both of those sports. Watch them. I watch them every year. Love college. I mean, my God, it's something about hearing that little tink. You know, when they hit that iron. You know, with the metal bats and college baseball. Whatever. I love college baseball. Love college softball. But why? These colleges have graduated 2 weeks ago. These people are adults. Half of them not going to play no more. This is it. Why are they still playing? We haven't figured out, and saying, you know, and I know lacrosse does it too. We haven't figured out in college baseball how to end the season when the school ends, or at least a week later. It's been 2 weeks, and they still got another week and a half to go. They just in the super regionals. Not even the super regionals, you know? They got a long time to go. College baseball needs to figure out how to end sooner than this. Softball and baseball, they're still going. I love them both, but my God, it's at some point you got to end these seasons quicker than you are. I know that, and I believe if I'm wrong, somebody please tell me. I believe they start college baseball and college softball like in mid-February. They start early, and I'm like, why are you not done yet? I know they can't play every single day, but I know they play at least 3 times a week. You know, I know they play 3 games a week, and I'm like, why are you not done? Why is the season still going, and you still got another week and a half? You're gonna be late June before the season's end. At some point, you gotta say, hey, we gotta fix this. We either gotta shorten our regular season, or we gotta shorten the postseason. Something has to happen to where these kids are done with their school. They need to be done with baseball. It needs to be over, and they need to be out celebrating with their friends who already graduated 2 weeks ago. You know, so I don't know what college baseball needs to do. Get it done. Get the season over with. Let these kids go on with their lives. So, hey.
Damn. That is something I've never really like. I've noticed it, but I've never like actually thought about it. Because you can still turn on ESPN2 in June and still be seeing college baseball. But I'm like, these kids, like, school is over. What? I've never actually thought about that.
Yeah.
But damn, shout out to June.
I mean, I think that the reason why they're prolonging it is because they want the finals in the college baseball World Series not to have to compete with the NBA finals, not to have to compete with the Stanley Cup finals. You hit this dead period. The moment that the NBA finals is over, you've already talked out all of your narratives with the NFL. You've already, now the NBA is done. Hockey is going to be done. You're going to have all eyes on college baseball for like a week and a half once this series is over. And so I don't think they want to move it because they want the TV money. Networks want them to fill that gap. And they're willing to fill the gap because they don't give a shit about the students. Colleges never have.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're having that. But you know, Jalen, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse.
I know where you're going here.
I
think you're taking my.
I feel like we got to talk about the WNBA again.
Yes, sir. We do.
I stayed away from it.
Kind of.
Same.
I don't know why women can't play nice. I
Oh
don't
my goodness.
know why there always has to be drama. People just can't be happy. They got to bite the hand that feeds them. They just, it's I'm doing this, and now this person's going to take my shine, so I got to teach them a lesson. I mean, everybody's on chartered flights now, yet your league is still losing millions of dollars every year.
Oh my God.
You're on chartered flights because of one person. It's Caitlin Clark. It has nothing to do with the whole rookie class. Let's be honest. Yeah. If it was because Caitlin Clark was white, then it would be Brink, the center from the LA Sparks that played for Stanford. It would be the face of the WNBA. She's a hell of a lot prettier. Caitlin looked like she'd been playing out in cornfields. Let's not kid ourselves. The best players in WNBA history, for the most part, have been white or some sort of mix of white. It's just how it's been. When you think of the Sue Birds, the Brianna Stewarts, the Kelsey Plums, even Taurasi. I think she's Italian. But it's not the rookie class. Angel Reese, you are not the reason why people are tuning in to watch the WNBA. You're like, one of your teammates does an off-the-ball hard foul unnecessary to Caitlin Clark, and you're celebrating with this girl on half court like you just won another title. Like you're wanting her to get punished because you want the limelight, but no one really cares. You just got ejected from a game because you told off an official, and Lonzo Ball's trying to show up in your DM saying he wants to pay for your fine. Be careful, that man's never going to play in the NBA again.
I saw that.
But he will half court the shit out of you, Angel Reese. You need to be careful, girl. He will pick and roll that ass. But no, like I don't get I don't understand the hate that this girl gets. She's the best rookie and the best rookie class the WNBA's ever had. She's bringing attention, attendance in games that Caitlin Clark plays in are doubled the attendance of any other game in the WNBA. Viewership is damn near doubled because of her. She is responsible for the top 5 most watched WNBA games this year. The top 5 most attended games in WNBA. She's the highlight of the league, yet these players are hell bent on trying to ruin her, and for what? It just, even the girl that what was the name? The one that did the hard foul for Chicago Sky? I don't know. She's irrelevant. She's stupid. She goes into the league, and then she gets kicked out for fighting with her coach. And then she gets picked up by another team, and they let her go for conduct detriment to the team. Then she plays overseas, and then she goes back to the WNBA, and now she's fighting with Caitlin Clark. And then she goes on there and says, "Well, what does Caitlin Clark offer besides a 3-point?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, no one would even be talking about you, and yet I still don't know your name. But no one would talk about you if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark and what you're doing. So it's just shut up, be nice. Hey, like, just I need to stop there because I'm going to say something.
The crazy part is she's been in the WNBA 4 years, and she's played on 3 different teams in 4 years. Girl,
she's been kicked off of 2 of them for conduct.
Exactly, and then you made a good point about Angel Reese. You know, the other day they put Angel Reese on network TV, right? They put the Chicago Sky on network TV, and they played in a half-empty stadium still. That tells you that it's not about you, Angel. I'm sorry, baby girl. Maybe in a couple of years, as people starting to come, but you got to get people to come to your game.
Yeah.
You got to come to your game. You're not the draw.
When you have to tell people that you're part of the reason why people are watching the NBA, then you're not part of the reason why people are watching the WNBA. Like, if you got to come out there and say it, and people aren't saying it to you, like, she reminds me right now of, like, Scottie Pippen with the Bulls. Like, hey, guys, like, I know there's Jordan, but look at me, 33, like, I'm cool too. Like, let me be a part of the cool kids table right now. And she's good. She's good, but unless she's trying to be the villain to Caitlin Clark, she's not that relevant.
Yeah.
Right, which is where I'm actually going to go with this. I think that seems like Chicago in general is like trying to be the Darth Vader to Caitlin Clark's Luke Skywalker.
They're trying to be like the Bad Boy Pistons with Michael Jordan.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Just beat the hell out of people.
Yeah.
That shove was crazy, and the fact that some lady, I forgot that girl's name. I think it was Chardonnay.
Yes.
Chardonnay Criterius. I think her name was. I think the fact that some lady was on ESPN just talking about how that's just hoop, that's just basketball. I'm like, damn well, if you flip the script, you would not be saying that. Like, relax. It's not basketball. That's not basketball. Relax.
Listen, I don't like to use the race card, but if a white girl did that to Angel Reese and Angel Reese popped up and wanted to fight her,
right.
That girl be out of the league. You know what I mean? It wasn't an incredibly violent hit. It wasn't incredibly violent, but it was one of those where there wasn't even a basketball play going on there. I mean, Caitlin Clark has these people so scared. There was a girl in a game, it went up to the line to shoot 2 free throws, and she was so worried about Caitlin Clark getting an inbound pass that she shot and made 1 free throw and then ran over to guard Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
And she still had another free throw.
Yes.
Like, she's in their heads that much It's like just let her be. Just let
Yeah.
her bring the attention to the WNBA that it deserves.
Make that
Showcase the
money.
talent.
Right.
Showcase the
Yep.
talent. But all we're talking
Yep.
about the WNBA right now is, damn,
Right.
y'all doing like some 80s Pistons stuck ball. Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
No, I don't like using the word stuck ball. I just mean like just the hard, like just
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
unnecessary roughing people up, and that's all we're talking about in the WNBA right now.
I know.
We're not even talking about
I
Los
know.
Angeles or the Las Vegas Aces still just balling, beating the hell out of
Yeah.
everybody. We're talking
Right.
about people being mean to Caitlin Clark. Is what we're
Right.
talking
and
about.
and that's the sad part is that there's some really good basketball being played in the WNBA right now. There's some really you can tune into a lot of these games, and most of them have been pretty compelling. And no one's actually
Yeah.
talking about the hooping that's going on. It's just about drama.
Exactly, because Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson are just two incredible players. I mean, they are so good. It's ridiculous how good they are. And you know, I remember in the early 2000s when Deanna Taurasi came out. I still remember the quote that Gino Auriemma had when Taurasi was at Connecticut. He said, somebody asked him the question, "What's the difference in your team and the other team?" He said, "I got Deanna Taurasi." I mean, she was one of the greatest women's basketball players in college I ever saw. And I got to watch Dawn Staley play because she went to Virginia and I lived in North Carolina. They was in being in the ACC. I got to see her play all the time.
She
But
just
Deanna
sounds
Taurasi
jealous.
was great. Yeah,
Sounds
but
jealous.
the simple fact of the matter, with Caitlin Clark, let her cook. Let her cook.
Right.
She can bring so much money to this league to say, hey, they should not saying that you shouldn't just. I'm not saying they should just let her just out there shoot, do what she want. No, I think you should play, but play within the means of the game. That young lady did not play within the means of the game the other
Right.
day. Some of the fouls are not within the means of the game. Just play basketball. That's all you have to do, and then everybody will get along, and everybody will get paid. They don't want to get paid. Like, you want to get paid? This is gonna be your meal ticket right here. This is your meal ticket. This is the time for you.
You want to talk about respect, okay? Just talking about like the college game. The head coach of South Carolina, that team lost one game in 2 years, and that head coach would rave about the ability of Caitlin Clark to the point to where, like, damn, like, how bad do you want her on your team? Like, but there was respect in the college game.
Yeah.
Now some of the players got a little bit. Now I think it was Angel Reese was the only one that like got upset over the shine that she would get, but there was a lot of other mutual respect for what Caitlin Clark was doing for the game of basketball in the college ranks.
Yeah.
But then you get to the WNBA, man, and it's like, shit. Like, for once, we're not talking about Brittany Griner going to Russia. Like, we're
Right,
talking about
right.
ball. Let's enjoy it.
Exactly.
The Las Vegas Aces are the best team in the WNBA, and they can't attract the attention that Caitlin Clark can right now. So use it. Use it to your advantage to showcase everybody else and get this game into the black and stop wasting money.
Isn't it the Sun since
Right.
they're undefeated?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
there's good
Yeah,
basketball being played, man.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, the Connecticut
wild.
Sun, man, they're 9-0. Shit.
yeah, they are. They're really good, and they got to play against. And they play against New York a couple of times a season,
Yeah.
3 or 4 times, and that's tough. Because
Well, the other thing that you are going to get with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever is there's a reason why they had the #1 pick. Okay?
Right.
They weren't a very good basketball team, but because Caitlin Clark is there, you're going to have the Michael Jordan effect, which is why I always felt that the Bulls' 72-win season is better than Golden State's 73 wins, because Michael Jordan played in an NBA Finals game for 82 games and then the playoffs. When the Bulls were in town, when you were playing them, they always got everybody's best shot. because you wanted to try to play. You wanted to play your best to beat the best player, and Michael Jordan was that person. And that's what happened. That's what's happening with Caitlin Clark right now. She's getting her ass kicked
Yeah.
by a bunch of teams that are putting up their best, as they know that we're playing Indiana tonight, but we'll play Washington tomorrow. So let's
Right.
put that second foot forward against Indiana because it's going to get showcased on national TV, and then we'll lay an egg against Washington, which Washington's still 0-9. So I guess no one's laying an egg against them. So whatever.
Nestor, you can go ahead with yours. Mine was the same as Malin's, so that summed that all up.
Well, good thing the Champions League final happened because I wouldn't have one if it wasn't for that.
He actually has one.
I have a lot of hate towards
this man never has hate.
The governing body of the Champions League, the UEFA, they're completely corrupt. What they're doing in sports is something that goes completely unnoticed, because I feel like a lot of people, like in the US, like we don't really watch Champions League like that. But if we were to actually pay attention, we'd be like, okay, you gotta send somebody in there and just take a look, because something's wrong. You have teams in the US dominating in any sport for 3 or 4 years. We see dynasties, right? But we don't see something taking 10 years. We don't see the amount of like sabotage that we see like Real Madrid's president and UEFA do to other teams. Like, it took the best player of all time in football to bring down Real Madrid's like dynasty. And they had all the players they could have ever bought on that team. Messi brought them down. And then they did everything in their power. I mean, there was like legal proceedings over taxes, over like supposedly they paid refs. If you go on YouTube, there's like quite a lot of footage about Real Madrid. You know, not so much Barcelona, but a lot about Real Madrid. Just incredible what Barca had to do to just compete. I don't think you would. I can't imagine that happening in any sport in the U.S. where there's like nobody close that comes close to like, Real Madrid. Nobody comes close. The only team that comes close is Barcelona, and they have nobody. We have a few good players, and that's it. A bunch of young kids, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, like that's what we got to work with. Real Madrid is getting Mbappe, the best player in the world.
I saw that.
And they already won the Champions League. And the reason they get another slick thing that they do is no other team, like you'll see, well, this team is growing and this team is growing, but they need that 1 or 2 players that are just gonna finish the puzzle so they can win something. And Real Madrid knows that, and that's the players they take. I mean, I think it's incredible. If I was a Real Madrid fan, I'd be kind of ashamed. And it's like, we won 15 Champions League, buddy. Nobody comes close to that. There's a problem. There's a problem going on. Like, would you really want to see a team? I'm not gonna name any teams because then we'll go on to a whole conversation. But imagine the Lakers winning the NBA for like 10 years.
Right.
Like, out of 10 years, they win it 7 or 8. How fun would that be? That's what's happening in football.
Well, and then not only that with Real Madrid, not only did they sign the best player in the world, they signed that kid from Brazil who was like the junior best player in the world, right?
Yep.
A young kid that this kid has been playing against 30-year-olds since he was like 14 years old, and now he's also playing for Real Madrid. I was like, what is going on?
And they're not even breaking a sweat money-wise. They're not breaking a sweat. They could buy more.
I mean, isn't everyone in the Champions League pretty much owned by the Saudis at this point, anyways?
And that's the funny part too. You can have your team bought, like I was joking about a few months ago. You can have your team bought by Saudi prince. Doesn't matter because you really do need the culture. You need the fans. You can't just come in and be like, well, I'm gonna buy all the other best players that exist. That's not gonna work.
I have a acquaintance that actually got to go to that match. Him and his lady. Can you guess who he's a supporter of? You can take a wild guess. It sure wasn't Dortmund.
You know,
Very.
Caitlin, I just want to say one more thing before we go to break. That Caitlin Clark is number 19 in points scored, and she's only 0.6 points behind Taurasi. Okay. She's number 4 in the league in assists. Taurasi doesn't even show up on that leaderboard.
No.
And on 3 points made, she's number 9, and Taurasi makes she makes half a 3-pointer more a game than Caitlin Clark. So for all that shit, this rookie is damn near as good as you right now. 11 games as a pro.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
settle down.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying. Not doing too bad, people.
Yeah. All right. Before we hit the break, do want to mention you should follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We are at AFR Sports. All one word, very easy to find on either platform. It's down in the description below. Be sure to give us a follow. While you're there, June's TikTok is also linked down below. So be sure to give June Buck Spade a follow on TikTok, the best Dallas Cowboy TikToker there is. So,
There it
June,
is.
thank you so much for joining us for yet another first half, my friend.
And it's been great. It's been great as always.
We will talk to you real soon. And folks at home, we will be back in about 10 minutes with G Money on the other side for community comments and
G-Money.
Dime 5. So we'll be back.
Bitch, I wake up, no silence. Fresh as fuck, I put it on all of my niggas. Got this fire, no makeup, but she still a baddie shit. She ain't stupid, but it's cool, yeah, I still my baddest bitch. Diamonds flooded like a pool, yeah, my necklace sweaty shit. Rapping Balenciaga too, bitch, I'm flyer than a bitch. Yeah, I stand my paper roll way taller than a midget. All these niggas lame as fuck, and they hate cause they don't get it. Yeah, little bitch, I'm cool as fuck, and it's paper that I'm getting. Rock us the globe, but you get told, yeah, I'm on a money mission. All that old shit up, but on host, still telling me they miss me. Yeah, I fuck on her, but I can't cuff her, I won't make her business. I don't know that boy, and I can't say it.
Kaepernick keeps it. Fooled everybody. Colin Kaepernick. What a game. Touchdown.
I'm fresh as hell, bitch, I'm fly as shit.
Christian McCaffrey getting that fat extension is well deserved. However, it's not going to reset the running back market. He deserves his pay, but unfortunately, it still is really not going to change much for the average running back. Really, only the top 5. If you look at the top 5 highest paid running backs in the NFL right now, the only one that actually was a top 5 rusher last year was Christian McCaffrey. All the other guys don't get paid big bucks like he does. If GMs can get high production from a Kyren Williams and not pay top dollar for a star running back, he'll take that all day.
I think it's going to be about a 36 to 14 game. Tampa didn't play good last week.
I'm going to say it's probably going to be like a 32, 17, 18 game.
It's going to be close. Depends. It's not going to rain anymore. So I'm going to go with we're going to win by 10.
I'll be honest. I think a lot of Eagles fans are nervous right now. I think it's going to be a close game. This is the Julio Jones night. This is the night where we find out what Julio Jones has left in the tank.
You're basically saying Devontae Smith ain't shit.
You know who's going to score tonight? Turn around. That's who's going to score. Yeah.
I think it's going to be 21-24 Bucks. Jalen doesn't have A.J. Brown. He's going to throw the ball to Devontae, but
Bucks going to win it 27-24.
23. Baker's gonna drive at the last minute, score a touchdown, take the lead, win the game.
All right, so he still thinks Baker plays at Oklahoma. Go ahead.
24-21 Birds, and I only think we win by 3 because AJ's out, Devontae's hurt, Jalen's hurt. We run the football, we win by 3. We go destroy the Lions when AJ comes back.
28-17, Eagles all
Did
day.
you know AFR is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? Click the first link in the description below to listen to the most recent episode of the show.
He won the chip.
Right. You want to see what his trophy
He
looks
whooped my
like.
ass. For
Look at this bad boy.
That's tight.
we got some.
Very nice. A couple of bad drafts, but you know, the waiver wire.
Yeah, man.
You were
He was
clutch.
on it. Yeah.
Like thank Taylor for being friends without him. Let's go for the repeat.
We do a sports podcast. Okay. And I can't help but notice that somebody is wearing an inside-out Dak jersey.
You know what? It's just a coincidence.
Explain what is happening right now.
Forecast was for rain. I didn't want the rain to fall on the outside.
That's all it is?
Because I love Dak. He's the best quarterback in the league. Big Mike's the best coach ever. Dallas's D is awesome. Yesterday was just unlucky. We won the coin toss. It was a Cowboys win. It was all about the coin toss.
Let's talk defense. You're wearing the Cardinals hat. You don't get a say. Dan Quinn. I don't want him as my coach.
Oh, he's going to be, though.
I don't want him to be.
I heard a stat today. Green Bay has won more playoff games at AT&T Stadium than Dallas. Do you know if that's true?
It probably is.
I heard.
So you still love that?
No. Mike's got to go. Big Mike's got to go. Dan Quinn's got to go. Jerry's got to rip this shit up.
Who do you want to replace Dak then?
Don't say Russell Wilson.
I was going to just ask you, would you trade Russell Wilson straight up for Dak?
No!
I wouldn't either now.
You went Browns to Bills?
No, I was a Buffalo fan and a Cleveland fan.
No.
They were in different leagues when I was
So, well, they were all in the AFC. Oh, okay. Fuck the Bucks! Awesome! Go fucking Eagles! Fuck you!
Hold on, ramparts we watch of the free. Let's go, Bucks! We celebrate Dr. Who's legacy.
I hate you so much. Alright, kill the sniper. There is so much man on man happening right now.
You feeling good, man?
I ain't worried, man. I'm gonna tell him the truth. We not worried. We go score in this drive.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield for game. His name is Baker Mayfield.
Oh,
the nigga got AIDS.
We accept less money and stay in LA, or go to Philadelphia and have that opportunity to win a championship, more so than what he has with the Clippers. The Clippers don't have a shot. They're the geriatric team.
Y'all really thought Minnesota was about to do something tonight. This man Kyrie is not playing with y'all. This man Luka damn sure ain't playing with y'all. He's putting his foot up all in that defense.
Out of all these free agents, there's no team that's happier to get rid of somebody than the Sixers are to let Tobias Harris go. He basically stole $180 million.
This has Lakers all over it.
I could actually see him landing up in Milwaukee. They could use a power forward coming off the bench.
The Wolves getting eliminated tonight, or are they going to force a game 6? I think they're toast, to be honest. Kyrie had a bad game. Do we really think that's going to happen again? Do we really think that Washington is going to shoot 2 for 9 from 3 again? Do we really think that Cat is going to have another game like he did the other night? That's the big one right there. I just can't see that happening. Although it's in Minnesota, I think they're staying home tonight.
You wouldn't take DeMar DeRozan right now.
No.
What?
I don't think
You're an
he's
idiot.
going to take us towards where we need to go to.
Who's going to take you there?
Tyler Hero.
You don't want what, another Jimmy Butler?
Say that.
Is DeMar Rosen better than Jimmy Butler right now?
No.
A comp.
You could pair him with Jimmy Butler.
Right.
And
saying.
if I were DeMar DeRozan and you offered me a max deal and I go down to Florida where I don't have to pay income tax, which means I save a lot more money, that's where I would go. Now, do I think Miami will do this? They're not big on signing other free agents. They're big on signing their own players.
All right, now, NBA Finals coming up. Who's winning and in how many games? And why is it the Celtics in 7?
Well, no, you would get canceled.
Welcome back, folks.
This pretty much be the whole show. How we doing?
I know people at home who do watch this live will be like, what the hell are you guys just talking about? Don't you worry about that, folks. It does not pertain to you. G-Money, what is going on?
Yeah, oh man, been here watching my Mariners lose to some shithole team. But, it's Wednesday. We're here. We're drinking. We're talking sports. I can look on the bright side.
There is that. There is that we all can look forward to.
Saturdays. Wednesdays are for the boys. There you go.
Amen. Raise them on high, gentlemen. Second half.
I want to know what nefarious shit Jalen has planned out on Bourbon Street tonight after he's done with his show.
Sir, tonight I'm sure everyone's going to bed at this point. It's been a long day for all of us, so. But this weekend, I don't know. All right, let's get into community comments this week, which there are quite a bit to get into. Funny enough, the player that was probably the most intriguing in our free agency segment last week, Tobias Harris, was the most viewed clip from this past week, which is just very ironic.
That's because Tobias has a lot of ghost accounts.
So starting off, where will Tobias Harris land in free agency? On TikTok, Big Daddy says, this guy's trash.
Oh, God. Damn.
Now, in that
This is
clip,
mean.
G Money mentioned that he should go to Milwaukee where he could be a power forward off the bench. Rick says, is Bobby Portis not a power forward, or is he like a small ball center? Alonzo Collins says he should go to the Bucks since Chris Middleton is demanding a trade. High Top 50 says, my team, Portland would be cool to have. It's a terrible idea. Someone else says, you're a wizard, Harris.
How do you, only in the NBA, do you get $37 million in 1 year and your career average is 16 points?
Yeah.
That is
absolutely.
It is wild.
Yeah. Shout out to the almost 100 people like that on TikTok. So shout out to those folks. What's the next one here? Paul George, where will he land in free agency? And on Instagram, Just Carmelo says, well, what about the Knicks? You might as well give that one up. He's not going to the Knicks. Frankly Orange on TikTok, shout out to Frank. He says, LA would have been fine and Kawhi, LA would have been fine had Kawhi not been MIA like 3 years in a row when the playoffs hit. It's not a bad point. Slade Earhart
So
says...
that's nothing to do with the question, though.
Slade Earhart says Paul George leaves and his team falls apart immediately. And then Mandeezy says, or he goes home to the Pacers and we give them Naismith, Jarris, and TJ. So half of your role players for PG-13.
I mean, I would keep TJ. I mean,
yeah, I'd keep TJ.
Yeah. And the others I could give a rat's ass about. And PG would be coming off the bench anyway. He's well past his starting prime. I mean, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, he really is.
On YouTube, someone said he should go back to Indiana. Big Bertha says he doesn't care about winning. He's staying in LA. Fair enough.
Big Bertha.
All right, going to TikTok again. Should the Heat make a move for DeMar DeRozan? This is a funny one.
What did Nestor say? I know Nestor commented.
Frank says, I think DeMar is honestly done being a main guy, but he definitely could be a serviceable starter. Great 6/7. Day Drinker says DeMar would be a terrible fit on the Heat. Nick says DeMar can't shoot and can't defend. He doesn't fit with either Bam or Jimmy. I'd rather get anyone else. And then Nestor said these
anyone else. Okay, so they want Tobias Harris.
Nestor said these people commenting no ball. So stupid. I do not get the Miami Heat fan base. Y'all don't know what's good
they
for
all
you.
about that Heat culture, man. They don't think they need anybody to win a chip. They just
nope.
let Jimmy Butler cross dress in the media day, and then you just go to the playoffs and have a shot. I guess I don't know.
We just have to wait for somebody to give up, some great player to give up, like Luka, or when you guys beat him, maybe he would come to the Heat, build a little dynasty there.
No, not happening. No,
Trade him a little.
Don't worry about it.
You guys will pick up like someone who's well past their prime. Yeah, little hero.
Well, to me, there's too much parity in the NBA right now for players to turn down that supermax with the team that they're already on for you to get like what Miami did when they got Bosh and LeBron James way back when. Like how many times has there been a so-called big three created and you don't even sniff the NBA finals? It's because there's so much talent spread out across the league that I think these players are going to look at it, and any player that could potentially ever go in their prime to Miami be like, why am I going to turn down all this money with the team I'm already at when they could probably add somebody that could help get me closer? You know, like you lose so much money missing that extra year on your contract. I just think the days of what?
Look at all those intricacies we're talking about. You would never see that in Europe. Just saying. Sorry. You're going. Fuck Real Madrid. Fuck Real Madrid.
No, you. Yeah, they just signed Mbappe, didn't they?
Yeah. Fucking team is. UEFA's little golden boy is Real Madrid. Nowhere can you see a team that just loves. Real Madrid is like the poster boy for Spain. That's what it is.
They are.
They can't lose because otherwise Spain is losing.
I mean, they're also pretty much like the Yankees of Champions League. Like they can buy everybody they want, but it doesn't matter. The Yankees are just so dysfunctional they can't turn it into titles anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, the last video. So I posted a little like highlight reel of a Colin Kaepernick playoff game, hinting at a future Colin Kaepernick video that is coming to the channel. People in the comments were really Instagram. Someone put a gif of Justin Fields. I don't know why, but okay. I'm not gonna try pronouncing your names. He says he didn't pop off in the Super Bowl though, and then someone replied to him and said hating, and he replied back and said, "Am I lying?" Flying Hawaiian says no offense, but a bunch of quick passes, runs, and them 2 deep balls. That's why he didn't keep going, because like all mobile quarterbacks who can't pass consistently, they get shut down within 2 years.
Lamar Jackson's still going.
Right. And then T. Clay responded to him and said, not true. And then Max or MadX.js, he says, then he went on to ruin his career. On TikTok, Thunder Mifflin says flash in the pan. Sonny King says glad he's gone. And then Franklin Orange shouted to him again, says to think worse guys have seen the field while he got blackballed.
I mean, his career was weird though, and I will say this: I do think it's funny, and you guys might not remember this, but going into 2013, after Colin Kaepernick had gone to the Super Bowl, after RG3 had won Rookie of the Year, I remember G Money and I talking and stuff like that, and we both believed that Russell Wilson was going to be the better quarterback out of the three. But everybody, all the pundits, had Russell Wilson is like he was behind RG3, he was behind Andrew Luck, he was behind Colin Kaepernick. And let's not forget, when Colin Kaepernick played in that Super Bowl, I think that was like start number 9 for him in the NFL.
Yep.
So it's not even like he played a full season. I think what happened more to Colin Kaepernick was the Jim Harbaugh effect.
Yep.
Where he kind of starts wearing out his welcome at the worst time for Colin Kaepernick, and they didn't properly work on developing him as a passer. And the offense got predictable. He started getting beat up, and then he started, dating that activist, and everything else downhill from there. But he was a pretty goddamn electrifying quarterback. I mean, he beat the hell out of the Packers in the playoffs back in 2012 on their way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was that
There
clip
was a
from that game.
reason. Yeah, that's the clip you're gonna show, or you did show, right? Like he went off against them. And you know, Aaron Rodgers was only a year or 2 years removed from a Super Bowl win, and here's Colin Kaepernick just running all up and down the field, making Clay Matthews look like a bitch.
Yeah.
But he was good for a reason. I mean, they made it back to the NFC title game for a reason, and he was part of the reason of that. He wasn't the best player on the team. I mean, they had a hell of a defense, and they still had Frank Gore. I think Cam Chancellor snatching the soul out of Vernon Davis in 2012 before the playoffs had something to do with it, because he was never the same after they hit in Seattle. And Richard Sherman, I mean, I think that Michael Crabtree is still in therapy over what Richard Sherman did to him psychologically. So I think it's more of Seattle being great more than it was in Jim Harbaugh running out his welcome to San Francisco than it was kind of like Kaepernick derailing his own career, because he didn't start dating that activist until he had already gotten hurt. Then he'd gotten benched, and some other stuff had happened, and Harbaugh wasn't there anymore. And if Zula is your head coach, are you really thriving?
Yeah.
But he just made bad decision after bad decision after that, and blamed everybody else but himself.
It
Hire
all
yourself
started
a
with the
quarterback
Bose
coach.
headphones. With the Bose, was it the Bose headphones that he got fined?
Yeah, it
It
was.
started with
Yes.
It was.
Jesus.
Yeah, it seemed like, when fucking Jim Tomsula is your head coach suddenly, and you have the buzzsaw of Seattle coming into play at the same time, it was like wrong place, wrong time.
And Bowman was gone for a whole year. Patrick Willis retires. Frank Gore moves on to another team. Crabtree was never really a true number one. He wasn't good enough, and they didn't develop him enough to take on the role like Russell Wilson was able to take on in Seattle. I mean, from 2015 till now, Russell Wilson has more touchdown passes than anybody else in the NFL. Seattle did a good job grooming Russell Wilson to take that next step to carry the team when they lost the other stalwarts around him. It got them that Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 48, and going back to Super Bowl 49. San Francisco didn't do the same thing with Kaepernick. I'm not sure that I don't know that he had the skill set to do it, but there was a lot of raw talent there. Yeah. Michael Vick-esque type talent that should have been able to sustain him longer than it did. But he flamed out quick, man.
Yeah, it was night and day.
Real quick.
Yeah. I mean, and Malin's right. They didn't develop him. I mean, coming out of Nevada, he was a run and shoot type quarterback, and more run than shoot. And he wasn't really accurate, and they never really worked on that. They let him use his legs more than anything else. I mean, I don't know how many times I saw him break a run for 50, 60 yards and thought to myself, well, that's kind of like Michael Vick, Vick's first or second seasons. Vick at least could throw the ball and be somewhat accurate. Vick's issue was that he was a one-read run guy. If the number one receiver that he was looking at wasn't open, he wasn't looking anywhere else. He was running. And Kaepernick, I mean, sometimes even if his receivers were open, he'd overthrow them or underthrow them, and they didn't develop him. And that's not on him so much as it's on the coaching staff of the Niners. I don't know what they wanted from him.
It's like with Colin Kaepernick. It's like he had, like, if you want to equate it to like major league pitching, he had one pitch. He had a 105-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's what he threw every single time he threw the ball. Like, he lacked the touch.
Yeah.
And most of the time when he'd be able to hit his receivers, it was because of the threat of the run, and people would crowd the line of scrimmage, and he'd be able to hit somebody wide open, or he'd be able to hit that deep ball because the safeties were coming in over the threat of him running. Like G Money said, man, he would frustrate the shit out of you. I remember in the NFC title game in 2013, where he, like, the defense was great. We had him at like a 3rd and 9. It was the first quarter, and he rips off for like a 55-yard run, and the next thing you know, instead of them punting, they're on like R30, and you're like, what the hell? Like, and you don't understand. He was so goddamn tall. He was like a goddamn giraffe out there running. You're like, why can't people hit this man? But he was just so damn quick. But he was fun to watch only because I liked watching him lose to my Seahawks. It was a good rivalry. Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, Carroll and Harbaugh, that Niners defense and the Legion of Boom. That was a fun few years.
Yeah, that like couple year window, and then the Richard Sherman interview, that NFC Championship game, it's still one of the all-time best post-game interviews. That was just
Aaron Andrews was so goddamn confused. Shit. He was like, "What happened?"
Let's move on to the last topic of the week, which is our NBA Finals edition of the Ride or Die in 5, which is going to be a bit shorter because decided we should only pick the first 2 games, just because, well, number one, Game 3 is on Wednesday while we're on the show anyway, and I don't know, it's kind of weird predicting more than 2 games at this point. So, yeah, we're going to start with tomorrow night's game, Game 1, 8 o'clock in Boston. G Money, we will start with you. Who is taking Game 1?
Boston. Boston hasn't lost a Game 1 at home in the playoffs this year. I don't see them doing it now. Could be a close game, maybe. I'm kind of hoping it is, just because I want to see a good game. I don't particularly care. I don't really think blowouts are good games. But I see Boston winning it.
I'm gonna agree. I'm taking Boston Game 1. We have come out very, very well in all these Game 1s, and I don't think this will be any different. Porzingis will be back. TD Garden's gonna be going absolutely bananas. So give me Celtics at home Game 1. Mainland.
All right, I'm watching the Mariners A's game right now, and there is an attendant that is like serving beers and drinks to fans. He's coming out right behind home plate, and I swear to God, I just found Biggie Smalls. I think he's alive. This man is so large that he has this number 307 on the back of his shirt, and I still think you could fit 2 more numbers on that. That is the largest man that I've ever seen in my life. I apologize. Okay, so all right, Boston. Boston's winning Game 1. Like G Money said, they haven't lost a Game 1, and for everyone saying that Boston is not good at home in the playoffs, they've lost 2 games at home in the playoffs in 3 series. It's just underscored because we're undefeated on the road, so it's not like we're terrible at home.
Right.
And I do think that even though they've had time off, I think that Dallas has had to extend themselves more, win the West, and we had to win the East. Porzingis, even though we might not be 100% coming back, is going to add a difference to, Dallas isn't going to be able to look at everything that Boston has done in the playoffs so far and be able to get a true game plan against us because we had Porzingis for 2 games, 1.5 games in the playoffs, so that even makes it a little bit more difficult to game plan. And a lot of people for Boston has stepped up in Porzingis' absence.
Yep.
So I'm taking Boston Game 1. 1-0.
Nestor.
I think Luka is gonna come in playing like a damn dog. He's gonna be on fire, and they're still gonna lose. Give me Boston Game 1.
I knew that.
Just more of a complete team, and they're not gonna lose that first game.
All right. Going for Game 2. This one's on Sunday evening. I will start first. Even though I picked the series to go to 7 games, and Dallas would be in their best interest to win Game 2, they're going to go 7 games. I'm hoping that I'm wrong with that, and I'm going to take the Celtics in game 2. I'm praying that the second game curse does not kick in this series, and we go ahead and take care of home court, hold it down, win both games. So picking this one straight off of Homer. Maitland.
I think this is going to be a little bit like the Eastern Conference Finals, not the first 2 series. I don't think we're going to blow out Dallas in game 1. And I think a close game 1 win is going to keep a foot on the gas in game 2 like it did in the Eastern Conference Finals, unlike how Boston showed up in game 2 in the first 2 series, kind of feeling like, well, we waxed the hell out of them the first game. We can do whatever we want. We'll win game 2, and they end up slipping up and losing. I see Boston winning game 2.
All right, Nestor.
Yeah, I think I agree with Milan. They're gonna take game 2, and I think this is what is gonna cause them to just win the series in 5 games. So yeah, I think we're not gonna see the Mavs as on fire as we're gonna see them in game 1. It's just gonna come down to that, that kind of like what we saw with the Pacers, a few mistakes here and there, and then ultimately Boston will take it. So yeah, give me Boston.
And G-Money.
Boston's going to lose the game. This is the game they're going to lose. So I'm going to take Dallas. Dallas beating Boston in Boston game 2.
I think we'll actually lose game 3.
Yeah,
we'll lose game 3
in Dallas.
I think that's the one where it might sneak up on them. But hey, if Dallas wins game 2, it's going to be a raucous fucking arena.
Yeah,
game
Jesus.
3. So that's why it's really important for us to take care of business. You want to the crowd's going to be excited, but you want them to have the fear of shit. We can't go down 0-3 at the beginning of that game, and you want to be able to kind of take the crowd out of it early. If it's tied 1-1, man, that Dallas shit. June's going to be naked somewhere. We're not going to be able. He's not going to be able to have his video on. It's going to be fucking wild.
You just don't want to drop game 2 and then have Kyrie be like, all right, you sons of bitches, now we're in my home court. I'm going to go off now for no reason.
Yeah.
You don't
want away from all you racist ass fans.
Yeah, right. He's in Dallas. There's a big difference. The difference? The accent. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well, they like him better. I think Boston fans are meaner at games. I kind of feel like when Boston fans go to games, they're like, okay, I know this is nationally televised, but I can really be a racist right now. I think Dallas fans are used to the FBI being up their ass, and they're a little bit more subdued. They're more of a closet at this point. They're not ready to come out. There's not a white supremacy pride month going on right now, so I think they're going to be a little bit more subdued in Dallas.
Well, on that note, that will do it for episode 191, folks.
Man, you guys are out early.
Yeah, we are. Shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's that time of year.
Right.
There's not as much to talk about. We've talked about the NFL ad nauseum about things.
Let me ask you guys this. So, Jonte Porter, right, got banned for the rest of his life from the NBA for gambling for actually placing bets or having someone for him place bets on him not playing the over under on his 1.5 points. You know how much money he made on those bets? Yeah, minor leagues. This guy's NBA, right? So he won just over $21,000. He makes $1 million a year. $1 million a year, which you're not going to make now. Was it? Yeah. Well, no, not anymore. I'm like, is that Was that worth it? I mean, I was expecting to see that he made like maybe $500,000-$600,000 betting on himself or betting on his team to win, to lose, whatever. He made $21,000. It was just over 21 grand he made. That was it. I'm like, dude,
I mean,
you just threw away $1 million.
not everybody that's a professional athlete is smart. And
That's true.
I think he just thought that he was obscure enough that he would get away with it.
But
it's not like
yeah, but I mean, so
he's just an idiot.
in Vegas, when they see something like that, red flags go up everywhere. They'll pull that over under. They'll pull it. Well, no, and especially if you see a big swing on an obscure bench player. It's like, okay, why is someone dropping $150K on this obscure bench player, scoring under 2.5 points? It's. I mean, that's the whole thing about not thinking it through.
I think we need to talk more about these degenerates that Vegas can have these prop bets on these types of people, and people will bet on it.
Right.
Like, how bad do you need to pay your rent? Like, what is going on, Chief? Where Vegas can put up these prop bets and people are still putting money down on it. Like, god damn. I put down bets on who's going to win the World Series, who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to take divisions.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking like, you know what? Number 3 coming off the bench for Toronto. That's a spicy prop bet. That's got some teeth to it. That's.
I mean,
these people are wild.
That's just I
don't know.
That's like I want more people to gamble, so therefore we're gonna have these prop bets over unders for obscure bench players, which of course, obviously with Jonte Porter, he was thinking, well, I can make some easy money on this because I'm going to bet on myself or bet against myself. And just easy money. Except that you weren't betting $1,000. You were betting $50,000. And the people you were involved in were betting $500,000. You drop that type of money on some obscure bench player, and all of a sudden, Vegas is going like, yeah, fix is in, man. There's something wrong with this. We're pulling that. We're pulling that line. That line ain't happening. And then they reported it to the feds. Because back in the old days, you would have had some guy from Cleveland come in and kneecap your ass.
And on that note, we will wrap up episode 191. Folks,
almost the 200, man.
Yeah, we're closing in on it.
Yeah.
Maybe September already.
Right.
Jesus.
I want to thank you all for
watching. Nestor's just
listening.
itching for his Dolphins to disappoint him. That's all.
Yeah, he is.
Super Bowl
like
run, baby.
5
Super Bowl run.
Go 5-1. Then Tua goes down, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah,
bringing down the Taylor Swift dynasty.
All right, we really need to end it now. He just said Taylor Swift dynasty.
We will see you all next week when the Celtics are on the verge of a championship.
Damn right.
Have a good week, and we will talk to you all next time.
Peace out, guys.